Hello, everyone. Author MJ Kaestli, and I'm here this evening with some very exciting news. I just, like 5 minutes ago, published book 5 onto Amazon. Now, before you run away, it does take Amazon up to 72 hours to do a quality assurance, to have all their bots scan everything to make sure that it's all in place, ready to go. And so the book will become available sometime between essentially within the next 4 hours to Wednesday. Basically, when Amazon is done, I've seen them do as fast as 4 hours, but it has taken a few days before. And so it's here. I'm done. After all of this, I'm done. I'm really excited about this book. I wanted to share that excitement with you. I'm excited it's done. Whew, this book was a beast. It was a tough one for me to both write and edit, and so it took a lot of time and energy on my part. And part of the reason why I'm so excited about it is because after all of that, I feel like it worked. Now, oftentimes as an author, when you have certain ideas in your head, they don't always translate. They don't always land or stick. They don't always find the right audience. And so I had a lot of self-doubt about this book. Even sending it into editing, like I still had some self-doubt about it because it's so complex. It breaks into multiple character points of view, so many. There's so much detail. Each character has their own arc. Plus we have our overlapping timeline that we had before. So it was quite complex, but there's something I want to share about the end of this book without giving any spoilers, is that while I was writing the first 3 books, every single thing that Freya did, every time I tormented her, everything was working towards this scene, which is the end. Hi, Amanda, which is the end of book 5. And so this was my point of reference. Everything I wrote, it was, does it measure up to the end of book 5? And so it did in my mind, of course, but what made me so happy is that both my editor and my book formatter flipped at the end. They loved it, and so I was like, oh, thank goodness it landed, it stuck, it resonated. And so that made me so happy. So I hope that all of you feel the same about the ending. I'm excited for you to read the entire book, not just the ending. So for those of you who are on my ARC team, some of you may be reading that book right now because I did send out my advanced review copies just about within about an hour to 30 minutes ago. And so those have been sent. If you're on my ARC team and you did not put in your request, as of yet, the window is rapidly closing because once Amazon publishes it, they are no longer available for you, the rest of you. It's coming really soon. Book 5 is almost here. And so I wanted to share with you the book cover tonight. And so I am so pleased. All I can say is I found the right cover designer for me that I almost don't have to give him direction. I can't take very much credit for these book covers, other than the fact that I understand how to find the right person and how to let them be. One thing, when for those of you who don't know, I was a hairdresser and in the industry for almost 20 years. And whenever my clients would say they were moving away, they're like, how am I going to find a new hairdresser? I would always say, well, you find people out in public whose hair you like, and then you go and ask them who did your hair. And then when you go to the hairdresser, make sure it's someone who does something you like. You let them do their best work. You let them have some free reign with your hair. And that's how I approached my book cover designer, because I know that you get the best work from an artist when you let them shine instead of trying to give too much input into what they are doing for you. And so, I mean, this book cover designer, I told him my genre. They're in a dome, young adult dystopian in a dome. A little bit about the world that my characters have mixed ethnicities, and so this is what I told him, and he just got it bang on the right time because I found an artist who works in the genres I like, who does good work, and I let him have free reign. And so it's kind of funny because it's like, yep, give me book 5, and I just tell him what it's called. And I'm like, my character has to have blue eyes because this my main character within this book is Chastity. And so for those of you who are not aware, it's called Betrayed, and here is your cover. And so it's so hard to make this straight on camera. So he did such an amazing job. I give him so little input and such. Just one more minute with that because it's so pretty. Okay, and so there it is. And so I don't know if you guys have worked out the correlation. Oh, hi, Nicole. I don't know if you have, thank you, Amanda, it is pretty, worked out the correlation with my titles. As you notice, this is Betrayed. It is, again, starting with a B. I'm really linear. I'm really, I want to say nerdy, and I really get excited about the fine details. And so with the first 3 books in the series, which are told from Freya's point of view, they all start with a C. And then we go back in time. And then because we go back in time, the titles start with a B because B comes before C. And I am, that's me. So I had to make sure all the titles were in alphabetical order, is what I'm saying. The alphabetical order of the titles correlates with the timeline of the story. And so with Betrayed, we are going to be before Freya's timeline again with a B, primarily following Chastity. And it is aligning, the end of the book is aligning with just before Freya's story begins. And so just to give you kind of a little bit of a what to expect without spoiling too much. Oh, it makes me so nervous to talk about the future because so many things can happen when I edit. I am about 80% finished writing the final book of the State series. I have written the 6th book, and I am working this week. Whenever I'm waiting for people to work on the manuscript for book 5 before, I have to send it to a format editor, I have to send it to my editor and such. And so while I've been waiting, I've been working on my developmental edits for book 6, so that is written. And I'm almost finished writing book 7. And so the reason why I get so nervous is because I don't know what's going to happen. Like, what if I'm editing it and I realize this information can't fit? And so it becomes 8 books, even though I planned 7. Or what if, I send it into beta and they're like, it's going too slow. And so I want to cut some details out and suddenly it shrinks. And so there's only 6 books in the series. These are the types of things I can't always predict. And so it makes me nervous, but I am sharing, even though it makes me nervous, I'm sharing my titles and the intention to finish publication this year. I would really love to put this series to rest in 2020. And so the upcoming book 6 is going to be called Conspired. And as there's still a little more information coming your way, and the final book will be called Delivered. And so one thing I also want to add about, thank you, Amanda, I really hope I can get this series wrapped up this year. And so one thing I do just want to share about this book of what I hope that you enjoy about it and understand and such is that this is going to reveal why I had to write this series in an overlapping timeline. Now, I have like a team of people who will do an intervention if I ever try to do overlapping timelines again, because holy crap, it makes everything take longer. It makes writing, revising out, like everything takes so long and is so hard when you do overlapping timelines. And so I didn't seek out to make everything hard by doing an overlapping timeline. It's because that is what this story needed in order to be told correctly. And so that is something that I also hope you enjoy while you're reading this, is you're going to explore why we go back in time, why I couldn't tell this story in a linear fashion. And basically, to sum it up in a non-spoiler type of a way, is that my intention when I started writing this series is I wanted to create a government that was more evil than 1984, which is one of my favorite books, if you've read it. And so I wanted to have this young adult setting make it initially feel like a utopia. I took everything that I would want in a perfect world. Like, I hate cooking. And so guess what? Nobody cooks except for people who like cooking. And so that's kind of where I was going with, like I would love to go to a gym, but I don't like traveling, the transport to a gym, and I don't like changing shoes when I get to and from a gym. And so that was another part of it, is, oh, the gym is attached to her home. Convenient. And so I was trying to think of all the things that would make life easy. And so that's what I was going after when I created the utopia. But I do believe that everything comes at a price. And so that is part of the theme, is what is the price of creating this perfect world, and what kind of government would you need in order to make this function? And how I was really pushing the envelope of how evil a government could be. There was a time when I was outlining that I wondered, am I going too far? And then I started doing, got on the Google bot, and I started researching what some real dictators, totalitarian governments have done historically. And I realized I'm just going far enough. I'm just going far enough. So I hope that you love this world as much as I do. I do have to warn you, Chastity gets very tortured in this book. I think I was meaner to her than I was to Freya. And so, but it also will give you some insight into, basically, when you read the first 3 books, you see Chastity as someone who is very aloof. She's very stand back, except for Freya. She develops this bond with Freya and wants to nurture her and take care of her. And so this book is going to give you a lot of insight into that relationship as well, because Chastity has a lot of secrets, which you kind of would have worked out, but you don't know why. So we're going to find out what all of her secrets are, where they come from, and why it is that she becomes so attached to Freya. Those are the types of things you're going to experience in this book, and basically the most evil government possible. I don't know if I could have gone any further, but I feel like I went just far enough. So I am really excited to share this book with the world, with you, with my followers. I can't wait to hear what you think of it. The second I get a link and the book goes live, I will be sending that link to my newsletter subscribers so that you can grab your copy as soon as you open your email. And so that is it for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. And I hope that you enjoy this book. I have to do it one more time because I just love his covers. They're so amazing. So there is our story of chastity. And so until next time, good night, everyone.